like my mind is always at 1,000 miles an hour. It feels like it never slows down. And that is the one time for 3 hours, for 4 hours, me working on a piece where I can have quiet. It was to the point where she couldn't even drive me to school. So I had to drive to school. I didn't have my license yet. I told my mom, like, I don't think I want to play. And I was so used to forcing myself to get up and do these things. That's what I thought was expected of me. And she told me, you don't have to. And that was so huge for me because I didn't realize that I had a choice.
Did you know at that point that you had perfectly depicted your life in that art?
No clue.
You're kidding me.
I had no clue. I mean, I was living it at that moment. But it's just like when you practice a shot 1,000 times, right? Even if I miss, I still feel confident coming back down and shooting that same shot again.
I think it's because something so pure within you is coming out of you that's the only place you're loved and welcome.
Yeah. Asking for help was the hardest thing. That took me so long to do. And being able to say that I'm not in a good place right now, I think that's such a good start. I think that is such a really good start.
Hi, welcome to the Creative Odyssey Podcast. My name is Sheran, and this is a podcast where we explore the creative journey that any person goes through when they decide to be involved in creativity to express themselves process. So today we are in Cleveland, Ohio. We are at Future Ink Graphics. Really cool place I will tell you more about that we get to partner up with and highlight some of the cool creatives that are involved with FIG. So without further ado, I want to highlight and invite Yves Santana. First of all, bro, thank you so much for the patience. We've had so many issues.
All good, man. I'm just super excited. I'm really passionate about just being here and talking about my work and again, just developing relationships, getting to know you guys, even just behind the scenes. So I'm loving it. I'm here for the journey. So
that's awesome. Okay, so how would you, you're creative, obviously. So how do you express your creativity?
So I do visual work. Probably this last year or so, I've been focusing on portraiture more often. And a lot of it has kind of revolved around the idea of reflections and just paying attention to what it is that I can take out of my relationships, how I can get the best out of myself for my friends, how to be a villager within a village, and just knowing kind of what work comes along with that. And just my pieces, they help me even just do some sort of regulation and process all of that. Gives me somewhere to channel it to. So, but I've been drawing since I was a kid. I mean, from everything from just visual work or small figurines when I was a child, even just into things like gaming and watching movies and film, like all of that stuff. I'm just super passionate about. So it kind of leads to what I do now.
Cool. So whenever I meet a creative, they've done a lot of work on themselves and process and whatnot, right? So immediately, what I want to know is like, how did you become you now? What shaped you?
It was I would say really where it began. When I was in high school, it was probably around my sophomore year. My household went through a split, so me and my mom we left, and for probably around 2 years at that time, we bounced around from place to place. My sophomore junior year, and within that time, she was I would really identify as my first role model that I really looked up to. It was just us two. She was working 3 jobs like at once to be something overnight. It was to the point where she couldn't even drive me to school. So I had to drive to school. I didn't have my license yet. So we were figuring it out and making it work as best as we could. And I got a chance she was Superman to me. Like she was Superman to me. And I think that was the first takeaway. I think it just, it humbled me a lot because I did have the privilege of going to a really good school, academic. Even to like in the area that we grew up in, we grew up out the way in Sugar Falls, but there's a certain section called the Park where it's only African, like it's 12 streets, it's African American. Okay. It's like a movie set when you walk in, it really is. And then surrounding it, it's huge, multi-million-dollar homes, right? And it was that contrast, and especially living in that community, but also going to a school of that degree. I think that both gave me enough like it grounded me enough to and humbled me a lot. Just navigating between those two situations. I went to a really good school, but I didn't come back to a home, right?
Right.
So that was, I think that also kind of helped. It formed, whether I realized it or not.
Yeah.
It formed a lot of just how I carry myself every day, how I talk. I can merge normally in with multiple different groups because I had to learn how to code switch.
Yeah.
And it just became really natural for me. So definitely a lot of that just in my upbringing, I'll say that's really where it started and bred. And I remember my 10th grade year where it really, really began was I had made the varsity team on basketball. And at that time, I really started to explore who I was creatively because just my identity with what manhood looked like was very stoic, was very traditional. So leaving that household kind of allowed me to branch out creatively a little bit more than I had ever been able to before. I remember I walked up after practice. We had a practice where my coach, he had us run down and back the court 128 times. And I realized the next day that was something I was not willing to put a lot of work into doing. And I remember I went home, I told my mom, like, I don't think I want to play. And I was so used to forcing myself to get up and do these things. That's what I thought was expected of me. And she told me, she's like, I mean, you don't have to. And that was so huge for me because I didn't realize that I had a choice. And she really would talk to me like I was a human. Like she didn't talk to me as a child. She really talked to me as if we were on the same level.
Right.
And I think that helped me a lot with just identifying what it was that I wanted to do. And after that, I really started to take my creative journey super serious. A lot of that energy that I would focus into basketball and trying to become a better player, I was able to kind of turn that to my artwork and take more art classes because I had more time to get projects done at home. And,
Right. Because you're not playing basketball.
Because I'm not playing basketball. And I think, too, that was also huge because I think especially as a Black man, you're expected to excel in sports.
Yeah.
Right? You're expected to be the best and the most athletic and to be chosen first. So for me, it felt like, whether I, again, realized it or not, that was, again, me kind of going against what my expectations. That was really all I ever wanted to escape, was just those expectations that were on me in the household that I grew up.
So from what I'm hearing, you had so many dichotomies happening in that time of your life, right? So the parents being divorced, and then you moved here, or did it happen?
We moved around probably because I went to that school since my third grade.
Oh, okay,
So,
cool.
A lot of those kids I was still familiar with.
So then you
As
at
I said.
school you feel like you don't belong because
I
would it
mean,
be right?
Even just being a Black kid.
Right, that's what I
Like,
mean.
It was
Yeah.
one of, like I said, I was one of like 60, 70 kids and the only artist out of that group. And especially in that age bracket, everybody was at a different generation at that time.
So when did you notice like something is off, like technically you don't belong there or whatever?
I think for me it's like it really didn't hit for me actually until that experience when me and my mom leaving. Because for me, I didn't realize how different a life that I lived from these kids, even prior to having nowhere to go. Like, we still lived a completely different life, but I never really paid any kind of attention to it. And like I said, I was very privileged to go to that school, even just to have a place to stay and stuff like that. I had, even within my parents' relationship, we were like a community center, pretty much. It would be days I wouldn't even be at home, and I would go home and there's kids that's there getting a plate and hanging out and playing my Xbox. And that's just what I grew up being used to. So even after that, I no longer had that anymore. It was just me and her, and that was it. We didn't have a place to have people, a hub or anything like that. So it definitely, I don't know, it just started to shape how I viewed myself and having so much isolation in between. Like I said, it was just me and her, and that was all. So I had so much time to sit and reflect on just what made me a little bit different in that school. And two, just having to I would go to a friend's house after school, and they would have these huge homes, right? And I never complained about it, right? Again, I loved being there, but after the fact, when they dropped me off, they were dropping me off at my other friend's house so that I can stay the night, right? So I just think that created a little bit of a rift for me and made me feel like, in a way, it made me go into a little bit more isolation. for following that, but
A lot of dissonance in your
it
life,
was.
and yeah. So you when did you think you like actually use art as a
Yeah.
way to process this stuff?
I remember I would say like the turning piece that I really had. It was the end of my 10th grade year, going into summer, and there was a specific piece. It's called Interlude, and it was an art style that I had never ever done before. I was really inspired by Basquiat, which for me that was like the only Black artist, contemporary artist I
Okay.
ever knew of that I can go to for some kind of refuge and just figuring out who I was. And I would say going and mark making on that, it's so much chaos in that piece. There's like there's a figure in the middle. He's a shadow, and I have like this one line drawing over the top of him, and it depicts a face. And in the background, I have just a ton of words that I just threw out on there, or I ripped out pages from a book and I glued them up there and painted over them. And it's so much. It's a lot going on in that piece, and I think that was the first time where I didn't have any. I had him as a reference, but there wasn't much that
Wow.
I went. It just all came out, and I think that was the moment where I realized that it's possible to do what it is that I always wanted to do, which was to create. I didn't know what that looked like at the time, but I knew that was I knew that meant that I can go a little bit farther than what I ever thought that I could. It felt
Did you know
possible.
at that? Sorry, I'm so
Yeah.
excited. This story is exciting me. But did you know at that point that you had perfectly depicted your life in that art?
No clue.
You're kidding me.
I had no clue.
Because you explaining that,
yeah.
I can visualize what you're talking
Yeah.
about, and then you just got done telling me your story.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, like the lines.
For sure. I had no clue. And because I mean, I was living it at that moment. I mean, even then, like I started painting my nails. I bleached my hair.
Yeah.
I used to wear these bandanas, like different color bandanas
Yeah.
every day. I used to draw all over them, paint all over my clothes. I think at that moment I didn't really realize it because I was living what I'm able to talk about now. So it's definitely like crazy. It's like a time capsule being able to look and opening it up, being able to look back and speak about it.
Talk me through that process of you going through these different kinds of ways to express yourself, like painting your clothes or bleaching your hair. Did you ever stop and think, why am I doing this?
I would have frequent conversations with my mom. I
Right.
think she was the one who really helped me navigate that because what was really important for her was, especially after leaving, was that she created a different household than we ever had before, right? So that we didn't have to worry about leaving again. We didn't have to worry about splitting up and going separate ways or being frustrated with each other. And she actually, through that process, she actively learned it too. My mother, she went through a lot growing up. She has PTSD. She's seen, I mean, just about everything you can think of. She didn't even go to war, and she's seen a lot of that kind of stuff. So for her, she understood what she wished she had in those moments and guiding her through that and helping her out. So even like we would have these conversations early on. And I think she helped me at that time realize the transformations that I was going through. Or she would just tell me like, I mean, you just had a moment. Like she would literally tell me like, you just had a moment where your whole life just changed.
Yeah.
Right. And
Wow.
like verbally tell me that. And again, just as a 10th grader, 11th grader, I mean, I can only understand that and digest that but so much because there's still so much more for me to learn at that time. But she did put it on my radar that it was possible to change and that there is work that goes into that. And whether I notice it or not, that I am doing that work. She kind of put that at my front doorstep. So definitely having a guide there helped me a lot with my self-awareness. I will talk about her a lot. She's
Wow.
really important to my journey.
That's powerful, man. Because like for a woman who has gone through so much, like what you explained to me, and then turn around and be like, I gotta help my son process all of this. Like I that's a lot of wisdom. I mean, you said she's gone through she has post-traumatic PTSD. It's impressive. I'm sorry.
She is, and even in two, we still talk about. I mean, we talk about everything
Right.
together. I mean, that's who I go, and it's also now new having to branch off and learn my own things outside of her, just becoming an adult,
Correct.
and wanting to go down my own path. And me and her, bounce ideas and collaborate a ton. So I mean, that's my mother, of course, but I think more than anything, she'll tell you like that's actually my best friend. Like we talk to the same way I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
We talk to each other the same way. We sit down, we chop it up, and just explain what we was doing in our day or what it was that she went through growing up, or just moments. She would tell me all the time. She's like, man, the stuff that you're doing now. She was like, I was breaking. It's like she was breaking in cars at her age, right? Like she was a complete different. I mean, she's so open about that. So that's why she reminds me how proud of she is of me. But furthermore, I also get to tell her like you also came a huge way to be able to even build the life that you want. So I definitely want to make sure first and foremost that she gets everything that she's been working so hard for, even if that just means that her son becomes something that he always wanted to become.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I understood. That helps me understand where you come from.
Yeah.
So and your struggles and things that you've gone through. As far as so 10th grade, you started exploring art.
Yeah.
Let's continue that.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you did to express, and then you realize, oh wow, this thing is about, I learned this thing about me?
Yeah, for sure. I think part of it was I actually started to reject school a lot through that time, just because I had so many other things that I was worried about. Having to be worried about constantly getting up and moving your stuff to a new place, and my focus was somewhere else. So I had a lot of teachers. I mean, to the point I call them my aunts now. They kind of helped me keep my mind straight. But like I said, there was a ton of role models that I had for me, and it took a village to raise me. It definitely did. And they helped me at least get finished with high school. But like I said, I rejected a lot of. I had like a 2.3 grade average. Like I just wasn't paying it. It just didn't really draw me in. Even my art classes, I was failing my art classes.
You didn't have the right mindset.
Like it was. I'm getting a D in AP art.
It's like you didn't have safety. You didn't have a place to call home.
I didn't really have a place to call home. And I would say our 12th grade year, right before COVID hit, it was March 7th. We moved into our apartment that we've been in since then. And I think that gave me somewhere to land a little bit more, and especially going into the pandemic and like literally following weeks after, that gave me at least somewhere where I have a place to draw and paint at. I actually had a physical room with a window that I can look out. And I think that allowed me to take everything that I had learned, all of that like feeling like I was walking on eggshells from the previous 2 years to now I have somewhere to land my feet at. I can actually I physically have a space. I can lay my head down somewhere. So I feel like that's what it was that kind of catapult me more forward into my artwork. And
can I just pause you? Because I'm sorry, but I'm one of those people, like I process as verbally too. It's as if, right, you will like you come into that apartment and you said, I finally had a window where I could look out and you could see some light coming in. It's like all that crap you've been going through the last however many long years, you come into this apartment, now light shines, and you're like, I have to now talk about this. I have to now express.
Man, like I can open up a window.
Yeah.
I can open my window up and I can stick my head out and I can just see what's going on. That was everything to me. So I mean, everything now feels extra, right? It's just like it at this point, it's been worse before. I also know that because it's been worse, that when my back is up against the wall, I feel capable enough to get out of it, right? But now I didn't expect to be where I'm at. I didn't expect to do what I'm at. Do what I'm doing. So, I mean, everything feels like a cherry on top. Every time when I meet a new friend, it feels like a cherry on top. When I get to talk about my work, when I get to invite people over now and hang out together, or when I get to meet new people farther out in Cleveland and have, my car break down, it still feels extra to me because I didn't think that I would be able to have the car, you know what I'm saying, the tools to fix it, or the money to fix. Like it feels like everything feels like a privilege that I get to continue to experience.
But also, like, you can get through anything.
Yeah, I don't think that I hope not, right? But I don't think that it can get any worse than it did.
I mean, even if well, I hate to say that because sometimes it might, right? But the point I'm trying to make too is that because you've gone through so much worse, you
Yeah.
know that technically I can get through anything
Yeah.
regardless of how bad it gets.
Exactly.
Because I think, to know that at 24,
Yeah.
right? Damn, that's-
It meant a lot. I think too, I needed that time because I just started up school last year, and I needed all of that time to kind of sit on that and comprehend what it was I was
and
going
that
through.
was 22.
Yeah, it was. I graduated 2021,
And you were,
and
how old were you?
I'm 23 now.
So when you graduated, you were,
I was 18. Yeah,
Okay.
18. So I took I guess about 3-year gap year until 3,
Brilliant.
4,
Oh my gosh.
until I started up school
Best
again.
thing you ever did.
I was so happy I did that because I even knew I told myself when I was in high school, I even told, because again, just being at that school, a lot of other people had money, stuff like that, to be able to go and branch off to
Right.
college. So my experience in my adulthood was going to be completely different from theirs. Because at that point, I'm already working a job as soon as I get out of high school. Like life started for me as soon as I got out of high school. So I was working down the street from my high school, literally a walking distance. I hated it. Like I was really going through it because everybody was in Cincinnati, in California, Arizona, so many different places. So, and I feel like I'm still stuck and I'm there. I say, so in between that time, I had to process a lot of what it was I just went through. Because I didn't have the money. We just scrounged up the money to get to space. I definitely didn't have the money to go to college. So I had to, wait rather than kind of put myself in even deeper of a hole, not even just financially, but just emotionally, trying to catch up to what happened. I'd also have to add schoolwork on top of that and other relationships that I'm meeting. And it just would have been really, really early for me to get that figured out. So I'm glad I did wait the time that I did.
This is an oxymoron, but you're a very lucky man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm so happy that I made that decision. I trusted myself at an early age.
Yeah.
It was really awkward with those conversations with my counselors, but I'm glad that I did. This is the best that I felt.
Hi, I hate to interrupt, and I hope you're enjoying this conversation, but we had something really exciting to share with you. We have recently started a new company called Odyssey House Media.
It's essentially a production company to help people tell their stories in a way that actually highlights their story so that people can actually believe in what they're doing.
So after traveling around Sri Lanka and coming back to the States, we noticed that there's a lot of incredible people doing some really great, meaningful work, but they don't quite always know how to tell their story or have the confidence in doing so. So after working with some other organizations and partnering with them to share their stories, we realized we need to help people share their stories.
The Odyssey House Media has been the one that's been sponsoring this podcast, our blood, sweat, and tears.
So if you've ever wondered, you have a story and you're not sure how to share it, we'd love to talk to you, have a conversation. You can check out more about us and our work that we've done in the past in the link below. All right, let's get back to that conversation.
Yeah. All right. I think it says something to like going through the experience you did. That gave you so much wisdom that to say no to career guidance coaches, to like, no, dude, I'm taking a break whether you like it or not.
Right, man.
Like that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. So then you're at the apartment. Talk me through that, because that was the renaissance of Yves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk me through that process.
I remember it started, my first piece I did in a pandemic. It was a 36 by 48. It was the background was completely yellow, and I did like contour line drawings.
Pause right
faces.
there. 36 by 48.
Yeah.
Who gave you the right to get that big of a canvas?
Man, I ended up getting it from my art teacher. So
you didn't buy it? You didn't go out and look?
No,
you just had it? Okay, good. Because if I had to buy that, I would not do that.
I just had it. And my art teacher, she would like leave canvases for me and tell me that I can take them home. Just because she also, my art teacher went through the same exact thing as I did. So she understood what was happening. She would leave, she would leave food in her like cupboard for me. Like little macaroni cups, ramen cups, stuff like that. So I can either stay after school or if I just needed something extra after lunch, because primarily lunch was the only time that I was eating throughout the day. So that would help me out a ton. And she was just, man, she meant so much to me. And so that following year.
I'm sorry, man. This is like really emotional story you're talking
for sure.
about. And when you said the whole village like raised you up, you really mean it.
It did. Those are people I can never, ever forget. They are a part of my journey.
Yeah.
I will always recognize them as a part of my journey. they will be there regardless. However that looks. I mean, most of them, all they asked for return was for me just to be the best person that I can be. That was it. They didn't ask for any kind of incentive. My friends, when I was sleeping, he didn't ask me for any money, anything like that. He said, I just want to make sure that you're good and that whenever you leave and you're on your feet, that you're able to do everything that you want to. That's
You're getting emotional, man. What the heck?
it meant a lot to have that. For sure.
No. So let's go back. That's amazing. Thank you for all the
course,
teachers and
yeah.
the women and the men who has helped them.
Right.
You got the 36 by 48
Yeah.
canvas.
Yeah, it started, it was yellow piece, and I had this huge, just super thick Sharpie marker, and on it, I just drew, it was probably like, I want to say like 36 or so faces that I filled up in between, just all with one line. And I would say that was the beginning of, I remember it was super bright in my room. I tried recording some of it. I don't have any of that anymore, but it was just super bright in my room, and I was free to get up and move and stretch and to use normally my process with my artwork, I use my full body. I love to back up for my piece. I love to use my arm. I love to move around. I love to listen to music and dance that's just my process. I need to be able to I can't feel restricted. And I think that was my first time feeling that sort of freedom. After that, I started to notice a pattern with what it was that I love to do. And it didn't really manifest to what it is now quite then, but it was building up. And I love to draw people. I love to draw different. And the way that I showed those differences was the different shapes of the nose. Some were bigger, smaller, more square, more circular. Some of the eyes were droopy or super high up. Some looked angry. Like it helped me figure out just physical differences, of course, but also those physical differences highlighted just different walks of life, where I'm from, where this person is from, just having different, and especially too, growing up at that school, it was a dichotomy. It was so many different perspectives I had to take in consideration. So that was a common theme that I started to develop, especially going through the pandemic. I want to say though, I made probably, I can count on my hands how many pieces I made that calendar year, because that was still my junior year going into my senior year.
Okay.
Where we moved in.
Okay.
So junior year going into my senior year. So I was still in school. I had that summer break. That was my first summer break where I was kind of free to again, I had a place to stay at that point. So my freedoms were a lot better. And I was just able to move around and drive, because my mom needed me to drive sometimes.
Wow, okay.
Friends would come and pick me
That's
up.
huge.
So I just think I needed that summer just to relax a little bit. I didn't really do too much work, but going into my senior year, I think that's when everything finally caught up to me as far as what it was that I just went through. My senior year in high school, I probably went through a really, really deep depression. And that was just highlighted by me doing poorly in school. I was like, I was just all over the place. And I don't blame myself for that, right? But it was just a lot of catching up, paying attention to like, wow, like I just went through 2 years of not having a place to stay. And now I'm starting to process why that happened in the first place. Then I'm starting to realize, oh, this is what took place in my household that made me feel this way or act this way toward friends, or make me lash out at certain times. Like that just started to catch up, and it started to be a lot to maintain while also going to school. And while also too seeing my mom, because we're still, although we're at a point where we have a consistent income, it still feels like this can be ripped away from you at any point. Right. It just was 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Right. So it's feeling all of that emotion at once.
Stability is not something you know.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar. I'm just still now getting out of that survival mode. And so it took so long to get through that. And I want to say probably it had to be like an 8-month gap. I made no artwork at all. I made nothing. After I graduated, I made nothing. And I was just so...
And that probably killed you even more.
Oh my God, that killed me even more. I didn't want to do anything. I was, like I said, at that point I graduated, I was working down the street from my school. I can look out of the window and see my school. Like I was just...
That's horrible.
Man, it went downhill at that point. And I feel like what kind of got me out of that, my mom, she encouraged me to start taking a couple trips just with the extra money that I had, because she knew that the money, I didn't have to contribute.
I want to meet your mom. Like,
oh my God. She handled everything so beautifully. And very gracefully. Like she did it, she landed graceful after so many,
Yeah.
like it just,
wisdom. Go
man.
take a trip with the
And,
little money you have.
Man, so and she took care of everything. Me and her, I worked for her. She got me my first job. She was a housekeeper. We pretty much did like janitorial work.
Okay.
And she wasn't the one that paid me, but she was like the manager for it. She hired me in and she showed me what it was to kind of work a schedule and how to be somewhere and how to be expected. And that was my first job that I really had. And with that money, my friend who was a friend I had, she was in the art scene as well too. She was one of my close friends in high school. She had moved down to Florida in Tampa to go to school for art. And she had invited me to come down and I just had the extra time. My mom was the one who made my schedule. So she was like, I'll schedule you off these 3 days. She said, if you want to go ahead, take your money, go down there. I took nothing but a book bag. I packed, a couple things in there, my toothbrush, some other stuff, and like one outfit, figured it out down there. And stayed down there for 3 days. I feel like that was kind of the start of me kind of figuring things out, and that there were, again, it branched out. It's such a bubble. So that was my first time seeing, again, just different people. Being in Florida too is very diverse. It's the weather's different, the people act differently. And I had another friend down there too, who she went to University of Tampa as well. We stayed with her, and I feel like that was kind of the start of it. I think what really helped me out too is I ended up getting a better job. I started working at where I'm at today. I work at Apple, and that ended up doubling my pay for what I was doing. I ended up becoming a manager at another job, and I worked there for about 8 months. And I felt like that also got me out just because now I have more stability. I can provide more. My mom started to ask help with the bills, and I was able to do that without taking a significant cut of my paycheck. So I think that kind of worked me out of it a little bit. And again, in the background, I'm still, as far as my artwork, like I'm still doing little sketches, stuff like that here. That'll never leave. It was just other things at that time that were more important that I had to figure out just financially. And again, just making sure that my mom is good. She started to slow down with her health, and her health started to decline, whether that was just like her feet started to swell up more often. So just looking after those things were more important. So like I said, it was a good gap of time where I didn't really produce too much artwork or posts on social media, what it was that I was doing. Most of it was just isolated kind of self-work. And I would say the final thing that got me up was I took a solo trip to Seattle. I had a friend who she was like out in Jersey. We had met through like social media. We were like, we should just go to Seattle, and never met her before. We met in Seattle for the first time. And I felt like that was kind of the turning point of what helped me like feel like this is possible to kind of get myself out of this rut. Even if it's just with a couple $100 to kind of get myself right. Again, I took a backpack and figured it out. And that was like, that helped me out a lot emotionally. And coming back, now that I had a new job, I had a new way of thinking. And two, at my new job, there were a ton of artists that are still there. They all do like festivals. They're insane people. They're so
you
cool.
met people at your community at your job.
Yeah,
too.
I met a really good community at my job. And I feel like that was, and I was younger than everybody. I was the youngest at my job. It's 100 of us. So I'm like 19 years old at this point. Awesome. And I think just at my skill level, they expected so much of me, not necessarily in a way of pressure, but they were just super excited to see what it was that I would become and what it was that I was doing. And I think that encouraged me a lot. Even them just inviting me out to, to certain festivals that they have. Or I would have I call her my fairy godmother at my job. She'll hit me and she'll be like, hey, like there's something that you should apply for. Here goes a grant. Here goes a, right? And she would dish that out to me. And I think that's what kind of got my head in the right direction of starting to, take my artwork seriously outside of just my normal job that I do.
What does that mean? Taking artwork seriously? I
think for me, there was a lot of growing up, especially at my school, there was a lot of being realistic that in quotations that kind of surrounded my work. It wasn't necessarily my skill level, but it was just more so like with that skill that I have and that gift that I have, how am I going to make money? That was super, and especially too, again, just coming from a time where we didn't have a lot going on. That was something that although I knew that was a factor, I never wanted to push that to the back. I always wanted to become a successful artist, whether that meant that turning into me selling my pieces and making money off of it, or whether that turned into community work, however that looked. But I think the way that I define success a little bit differently as I did then. My only understanding as an artist was to create pieces and to sell them and to be in the galleries, and that was the way that I would make money. I think my way now is I want to give back. Again, I had role models growing up, and I would love to be involved with more community work, or just having, again, too, even like, again, prior to me going through all of that, we still had a community household, right? We still had kids that were over that still played my game. Even like when I talked to, I was a camp counselor for a little bit. When I talk to children, the same way my mom talked to me, I still talk to them like they human beings. If I do wrong, I'll pull a kid by the side like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, right? Like, you were right? And that's what I want to become for just as many people as I can.
So when I asked you, you answered, like when you mentioned taking art seriously. I guess what I was asking was, how do you find the balance of like obviously art for money and then art for expression, and then you put that into together and you call it I'm taking arts realistic. How do you find, like, what does that world look like to you?
I still don't know. It's I mean, this is the
How
first.
have you done it, I guess, so far?
I think the way that looks is just putting in, how should I put it? The way that I relate it to basketball, because for me, that's my parallel to what I've always grown up and being used to. And I relate it to the 128 down and backs my coach had us run. He had us run 128 times. And I remember I went in the next day, and that was something that I wasn't willing to do, right? Because I didn't feel like I would get better in that. I didn't want to make it to the NBA. I didn't want to make it to the big leagues. It was just something that I purely did just because I did enjoy basketball on the side. For my artwork now, I'm willing to run 1,000 times. I'm willing to draw 1,000,000 times and figure it out. I'm willing to hang out with my friends and figure out who it is that I am to then pour that into my artwork. I'm ready to do the reps, right? I'm ready to go to school and to be humbled by a medium that I've never done before. That way I can then either decide if that's something I still want to do, you know what I'm saying, outside of school, or I guess the way I define taking it seriously is the same way that I kind of define my, like I said, just my basketball career is it's something that I'm willing to get up, you know, like.
So is it to get good at it, or is it for something else?
I guess I've never been asked that question. I guess it's, of course, definitely to get good at it, right? I think there's always, even just being at my age where I'm at, I know that there's also another 7 years out of me until I reach 30, where my artwork is still going to evolve and change, and technique will get better. I think truthfully, I still don't know the answer to that. I think often a lot of it, it's easy to get kind of like a competing mindset. And I think definitely as an artist, especially, I think normally artists are seen not as like socially outcasted, but typically kind of against what your traditional, you know, way of thinking is. And I know that that's something that I know still needs to be united, right? I think that it's better when artists are working together and are sharing, right, pieces of the pie with each other, or sharing grants with each other. And I think that's something where I'm trying to learn how to transform some of that competitive energy I had from basketball and that kind of lifestyle growing up to learning how to not necessarily just do artwork to be the best, but also just do it because that's what it is that I want to do. I can't breathe. This is how I breathe, right? This is how I move. The same way that I go up and I got to get something to eat because I'm hungry. It's just my artwork is this. This is how I breathe. This is how I eat. And that's something that I'm still learning to, just at my age right now, learning how to transform that a little bit.
How do you define wasting time?
Wasting time. It's hard because right now, maybe I can define it as in just talking about it, but right now, like I've been struggling lately because I feel like at my age, I'm supposed to have everything figured out.
Really?
Right. So every time that I go home and like,
How old are you again?
I'm 23, and it's like I tell myself, I know, man, and
Sorry.
I'm no, but I'm glad that
I'm
you
38, so I haven't figured it out.
but like I'm glad that you point that out because it's easy to kind of feel like I need to have a good paying job, but also having to double the fact that maybe I tell myself all the time, like maybe within my degree that I'm getting for studio art, I might not, get a well-paying job, right? It's easy to kind of go back and forth on that. So I feel like with wasting time, I think I can sometimes have an issue where I'm overworking myself. And I feel like even on days where I go home and I just want to relax, I feel bad about that, right? To get rest or to not stay up super late right? So,
but it doesn't sound like you waste time.
Yeah, I guess now
You
saying
don't
it
think
out.
about that at all.
Yeah, no, I really don't.
I only ask that because I mean sometimes depending on the culture, childhood you grew up in,
Right.
you know, becoming creative is not always looked as a worthwhile thing to do.
Right, for sure.
Right. And the reason I was actually kind of asking you about like success and like why create is, I mean, I'm genuinely curious as a 23-year-old, like you have plenty of distractions.
Yeah.
Right. Like and like you sitting in front of a canvas and drawing or any medium for that matter is you being by yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to do that.
Right.
So like you get excited about that?
I do.
Why?
It's like it's there. It's everything like it's like everything crescendos, and then I can sit down and I prime my canvas, or I'll even just getting the way that chalk works. It's like you have condensed chalk you have like condensed chalk, and that is that sound like it's so quiet to me, right? It even I throw in my headphones. And like I said, I love to move. I love to dance. Like that feels like a moment where I can be by myself. Kind of, it's emotional for me because it's like I'm so used to now. I feel like for a while I was taking care of everything. Just in my household. My mom recently had surgery, and to be able to sit down and just quite like my mind is always at 1,000 miles an hour. Like it feels like it never slows down. And that is the one time for 3 hours, for 4 hours, me working on a piece where I can have quiet, right? Like it's, so that moment is so emotional and so important for me because I don't feel like I get a lot of that. I don't feel like I had a lot of that growing up.
Yeah.
It feels healing because so much of my life, even just in childhood, revolves me having to be somebody and having those pressures and having to take care of other people or having to pay attention to their emotions. And that's the first time where I can pay attention to I can give myself time, and I can pat myself on the back, or I can see that there was work that went into this. I know that there's been thousands of drawings that have led me up to this point. There's been countless hours of me leading up to this point. And I trust myself so much in that moment. Like that feels really good. I don't think I've ever really spoken on that before, but that pocket of time, even just if that's once a month, or maybe sometimes I'll fit it throughout my week. Like it's so important to me. Yeah.
One last question about that experience.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through what your mind and the voices and the conversation might look like?
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it switches a lot. Like like on my normal day to day that I have going between school and between work. Again, a lot of it is negative self-talk. It can be, again, I'm not doing enough, or it can be I'm not excelling good enough within my job. I need to start doing it so I can make more money within my job. And oh man, like my car is making this sound now. Now I got to think about $1,000 that's gonna come out. And now I don't know how to save money, right? And when it goes to standing in front of the piece of paper or standing in front of the canvas, it goes to like telling myself, like it goes to, oh, you've done this 1,000. It's been times where I've signed my artwork before it was finished because I felt so confident in what it is that I'm doing, right? That change in like that I guess it feels like I have more control over that situation, what it is that I want to what it is that I want to put out. I know that in order to get the reactions that I want to get out of my artwork, whether that's just oohs and ahs or whether that is people who dislike it, I know that that's totally up to me, right? There's nobody else that's in that moment. There's no other finances in that moment that's swaying that, right? That's something where I have the choice to, or it's my job to put that out there, and I think that's kind of what switches.
So are you telling me that the negative voices goes away because you are confident in what you're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's, like I said, it's just, again, even I speak about basketball a lot, but it's just like when you practice a shot 1,000 times, right? And now I'm in a game and you pass me the ball at a place where I done practiced a shot 1,000 times. Even if I miss, I still feel confident coming back down and shooting that same shot again. I've shot it 1,000 times. And when it comes to my work, it's, like I feel like I've produced so much that I feel good about, so much that I feel bad about, right? There's been so many times I've missed so many shots or balled up paper,
All right. I have maybe it's a gotcha question, but
Yeah.
from that example of basketball, right? You feel confident because you are confident in your skill. And because of your skill, you won't be kicked out of the team.
Yeah.
Right? Same example applying to your art. What if those things weren't true? All of a sudden, one day that changed, right? Now you're not a good artist. You have depression and you can't perform, right? And now you're worried, am I even an artist, right? So I only ask this question is because to me, it sounds like, you go from negative voices where you go to art and the negative voices goes away because nobody's judging you here.
Right.
You don't judge yourself in your art.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't. No, I mean,
it's
definitely
obvious,
can.
right?
Yeah,
as
yeah,
creatives,
for
we
sure.
have that what do you call imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
That's not gonna go away. That's for sure.
Right.
Confidence is a good thing. I'm never saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say to you is that maybe that's the place where you just feel comfortable because nobody's judging you.
Yeah.
You also, that's the one place you don't allow yourself to judge yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Even if there are negative voices, you fight back and you're
Yeah.
like, no, I don't let that because I don't know. It's really like, to me, you creating is a very special thing. It's because you found a way to express and process life.
Yeah.
And to me, it's more than a skill what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because everything that you're painting is literally coming from inside.
Right. For sure.
And the beautiful thing is, even the portraits and things like that you paint of other people,
Yeah.
it's you perceiving them from your own
Right.
vision and then putting in your,
Yeah.
So I want to challenge you and say, I think you're on the right path, but I think it's more than a skill.
Yeah.
I think it's more than you confident.
For sure.
There's something really beautiful about that period of you creating.
Yeah.
Looking at your entire story.
For sure. I didn't think of it that way.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
jump in,
that's-
but I think that's like
yeah.
the missing piece is because the only reason I say that is when artists, right?
Yeah.
When it's backed by stability and wanting to be stable, right? When we find confidence in our creativity, all of a sudden we forget that it's creativity that got us the confidence.
Yeah.
So then we forget that, and then we go on to production mode.
Right.
Be making artists, when people enjoy you care about all of those things. Then you forget that you are creating because you found a way to express yourself.
Yeah.
So I just maybe I heard it the wrong way,
Yeah.
but I just want to challenge you and say, don't ever think it's confidence.
Yeah.
Only think it's because something so pure within you is coming out of you that's the only place you're loved and welcome.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah. I don't think I've ever
Trust
considered.
me, I think about these things. I personally have gone through similar situations, and the only wisdom I have is finally giving myself time to be with myself, to create whatever way. I woodwork, I paint, I write, I do all these things, music. But what I realize is creativity is the way you connect with your inner child.
Yeah.
And your inner child has gone through a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
So every time you go to create, that inner child is like, let's talk about this topic.
Right. For sure.
Let's talk about that topic. Remember that one time you felt like this?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then you sit there the first, oh man, I get goosebumps talking about this.
Yeah.
I want to see that if you still have that painting of you drawing you in like surrounded by chaos.
Yeah.
That was like, I don't know if you still have it, but that's like,
Oh yeah. Still one of my beloved pieces. They don't go nowhere. It's not going nowhere.
that's
Yeah.
literally came out of you.
Yeah.
And I didn't come here to tell you what to do, but I'm simply saying is like, I think you're on a massive journey.
Yeah.
And as you are trying to navigate this artist life and stability and all of those, please remember it's about the creativity and you connecting.
Yeah.
Everything comes from within you. Nothing comes from outside.
Absolutely.
It's you might see it, you might perceive it, but it's from within you.
Absolutely. I needed to hear that.
Absolutely. I'm happy to tell you that. Okay, so this is a podcast about you.
So we're all good. Yeah.
Really quickly, you look at other people your ages, or even young people, or even old people, whoever, I don't care what age it is. If they're going through a like time of life where they're feeling stuck, or where they don't know this way out, right? Like lost, depressed, all of those things. What advice could you give?
What's helped me a lot is seeking out, just seeking people out. Going community, going for help, asking for help. Asking for help was the hardest thing. That took me so long to do. Asking for help and being able to say that I'm not in a good place right now, I think that's such a good start. I think that is such a really good start. Just because first you acknowledge what it is that you're going through. I think that's really important. There's no reason to be in denial, right? We're human beings. I'm not going to be at 100% every time. I'm going to be at 30%, possibly next week, right? And I think that's important to recognize. But furthermore, I'm not sure if it could be a prideful thing. It can be anything. It could be something from childhood that make you feel that way. But I think
still a valid emotion.
Yeah, still a valid emotion. And I think it's what could do so much service for you is to go out and to reach out to a friend, to reach out to a stranger, to reach out to, even if you got to write it out and let it go in the wind, right? I think that helped me so dramatically, so much to get to where I'm at, and allowing people to help you. I think that it's easy to get to a space where you feel like you can figure it out all on your own. I think we're human beings, we're social beings. And I think that's really important, to go out and say that I don't have it all. That is absolutely where I would start if I could.
You mentioned community, seeking out community. I don't want to forget FIG. How did you connect, and what does it mean to be part of FIG and the community here?
Oh man, I have a friend named V. I believe she'll be a part of the Vanessa is amazing. Amazing human being. I had the privilege of meeting her. She did a couple of my tattoos a couple of years ago, and our friendship started from there. And just us documenting our art journey, us sending each other grants, or us saying we know that we can get better out of each other. I've seen you do better before, so how about you try this again, right? Or that's so important to have. And we came up here I've known of this place probably for a couple of years now, especially the other half of the building, and just seeing the parade stuff that they have. But where I was first introduced to FIG was Vanessa had an art show here. And I had the privilege to come up here and see just how that meant so much to her. Stephanie, she talked so highly of, even just working with her, and furthermore, just developing a relationship outside of that. And again, just being close friends, in a proximity. This was something she would come back, tell us what I did today at my job, or what it was that she was super excited about. I worked with these kids today, and that was something that, and even into she would start inviting me over to, I started to get really more involved last year, just a little bit. And she would invite me to critiques, or she would invite me to art shows that they held here. And that just gave me, again, more of a reason to come out to this direction. So that has meant a lot. And me also developing a relationship with Stephanie. She's such a cool lady.
Yeah.
Feels just as excited about things that I am. And that means everything to me. So just building that up, and Vanessa's also invited a plethora of other friends. I mean, and so many other people who I haven't met before. I just had lunch with somebody who she introduced me to 2 weeks ago, right? And now we get to go rock climbing together and do, right? Like that builds, and whether she realizes it or not, or whether Steph realizes it or not, those things it goes out so far. And, you know, I mean, it's to the point it's becoming lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
That inviting people in and come sit with me. Like, please come sit with me. Come talk to me. Like, I love that. I'll get up. If you don't want to move, I'll get up and come sit with you, right? So I think that's really where it started. And this place feels really good to, you know, be a part of that and add to that. I hope that the same way I talk about Vanessa, somebody can talk about me.
Yeah. It's like the same way I'm doing. I want to hear your story and connect with you.
Yeah.
You want to? I do that outside the podcast too. But like,
for sure.
It's so important to hear people's stories and connect with them and understand where they come from and why.
Absolutely.
Why what they do. Yves, bro, I didn't even get a chance to talk about your name change. Anyways, I'm gonna have you again because I think
absolutely. I would love that.
Down. For now, Yves, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for
You're a
having me.
23-year-old, very enlightened man. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Please give my regards to your mom. She sounds like an amazing. This was an amazing conversation. I hope you were inspired to create. If not, listen to the next one. Oh, I'm kidding. Keep dreaming, keep creating, keep going on your own Creative Odyssey.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you. For sure. My pleasure.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. Hi, this is Sheran. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I can't believe you did that. That's so awesome. It makes me so happy because it's such a passion project of mine. It's a special project because I'm on a mission to inspire people to create, because I think that a lot of us grow up, become adults, and we forget to create. We don't think creativity is important. We get our big boy bosses, big girl bosses, and then we play parent and all of those things, and that's fine. But I think there's something really powerful about connecting with your inner child and being connected with that inner child. Because the reality is, I think, if you really think about it, there's this little child is controlling this big body. I think that's what adulthood is, and I think the more we are connected with our inner child, the better. And creating allows you to do that. I'm a creative person. I woodwork, I do video, I do music, I do now kind of drawing, and there's so much more I want to do and learn, like pottery and things like that. All because I realized the more I did it, the more I realized all the crap, the negative stuff that I would say to myself, or somebody said to myself, that I took as a label that's absolutely mine, or this is the truth or something, which more and more I digged into it as I created, I realized, oh my gosh, none of these things are true. Actually, I'm a very, creative person. I have values, I have good skills, all these things. And all of a sudden I realized I'm much, much more free. And the crazy thing is, the people that I bring on this podcast, you can see that, right? Like, you can see how free these people are and how much they know about themselves. And I think that goes to say that we can leave all these other things aside, and we can connect, you and I, through creativity and the process of creativity and what you learn about yourself, because there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn because humans are absolutely unique and beautiful and absolutely gorgeous, and their stories are even more beautiful. So I think this is a place that I want to feature these people. Anybody who is a creative, who has a story to tell, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Yves' story, wow, what a phenomenal story. I hate to call it story because I don't want to diminish his life, but the struggles he has gone through has made him into such a remarkable young man. My gosh, so much wisdom and insight and thought goes into his actions, and that's what happens when you're a creative. So I highly recommend you, if you have not tried creating, I do have office hours type of thing where if you like, you can talk more about stuff, but it's in my link in bio. But the crazy thing is that I know now that that my wife and I, we're building something really powerful, creativity, and people do create. And I don't know what I'm saying here. It's just every single day, I just want you to know, like, I'm the one editing these things. There's so much thought goes into it. I spend so much time editing, and I feel like I don't get a chance to connect with you, the viewer, whoever is watching. I just want to connect with you. Either follow me on Instagram or whatever, send me a hi, give me a comment. I would love to know what you guys want to see in the future. I just want to let you know a little update. So I keep mentioning the Sri Lanka podcast tour. See, what happened was in 2025, in September, my wife, myself, and my brother, we went to Sri Lanka, and there I recorded over 27 episodes. I came back from Sri Lanka, and I want to let you know it's been 20 years almost, going to be 20 years since I moved to Sri Lanka, to USA. And the crazy thing is that I had a bit of a hard time after I came back from Sri Lanka. I had to process so much, and I couldn't really get myself to edit videos. I literally couldn't do it. But I didn't want to stop the momentum of the podcast. So I decided to start my partnerships in Cleveland and start recording. We upgraded our equipment. Now we have a switcher, meaning we get to edit the episode as it happens, at least the angles and things like that, which allows us to, at least me, to edit less, and all I got to do is, there's some kinks with the audio I still need to figure out, but at the end of the day, I just got to put them together. It's a lot more easier progress. So I have started posting these American episodes. I want you to know, if you are a Sri Lankan guest, I'm so sorry. This is completely my fault. Your boy kind of just had to take time out and process, and it's okay. At least that's what I tell myself, because it was agony not editing those episodes the way I wanted to. Anyways, this is getting longer than I thought, but if you're watching, we're building something here. We want to see more people create, because the more people create, we can end these stupid wars, we can end all these unnecessary things that we get ourselves into, and we create more beautiful things that are within us. Your story is so powerful, your life is so powerful. You need to spend some time with yourself and create something, whatever that's inside of it. And please, when I say create, do not misunderstand me. I do not mean just arts. I mean more than that. I mean using your brain to solve a problem, woodworking, construction, whatever it might be. Thank you so much for staying so long. I appreciate you. I already said the tagline. I'll see you on the next one, which hopefully is tomorrow or day after. I'm trying to get this up as soon as possible. I'm trying to do the best I can without trying to go for perfection. It's very hard, but I'm trying my best. Thank you for subscribing and following the journey. I would love to hang out with you one day. Thanks.